In the late 1800s, the European powers divided Africa among themselves. Germany, a new empire at the time, took control of Namibia, then called German Southwest Africa. The land was wide, dry, and filled with grasslands where cattle roamed. It was home to proud African peoples, the Herero, who were skilled cattle herders, and the Nama, who were strong traders and fighters. At first, the Germans acted like they came in peace. They signed treaties with local chiefs, brought goods to trade, and promised friendship. But soon, their true aim was clear. They wanted the land, the cattle, and control over the people. The Germans forced the Herero and Nama off their fertile lands. They seized cattle, the main source of wealth for the people. African men were made to work as cheap labor on German farms, mines, and railroads. If they refused, they were beaten or imprisoned. The Herero and Nama felt their way of life was being destroyed. Their land was shrinking, their cattle were stolen, and their children faced humiliation. Resentment grew like fire under dry grass. By 1904, the Herero people could take no more. Under their leader, Chief Samuel Maharero, they rose up in arms. They attacked German farms, outposts, and soldiers. For the first time, the Germans felt the power of an African people defending their land. The Nama, led by men like Hendrik Witbooi and later Jacob Morenga, also joined the fight. Together, they fought bravely, knowing they were outnumbered and outgunned. For a short while, they pushed the Germans back, but Germany had no plans to lose. The German emperor sent General Lothar von Trotha to crush the rebellion. Von Trotha was a man with no mercy. He believed Africans were not equal to Europeans. When he arrived, he made his intentions clear. In October 1904, he issued an order known as the Extermination Order. It said, "Every Herero must leave the land. If they do not, I will force them out with guns. I will no longer accept women or children. Anyone found will be shot." This was not war anymore. This was genocide. In August 1904, the Herero gathered at the Waterberg Plateau. Thousands of men, women, and children camped there with their cattle and belongings. They hoped to fight back or escape east into the desert. But the Germans surrounded them with cannons and machine guns. When the battle began, the Herero were overwhelmed. Many were killed instantly. The survivors fled into the Omaheka Desert, a place of burning heat and little water. The desert became a graveyard. German soldiers followed the Herero, poisoning wells and guarding water holes. Men, women, and children collapsed on the sand, dying of thirst. Mothers cried as their babies withered in their arms. Whole families disappeared, their bones left in the desert sun. Out of nearly 80,000 Herero people, only a small fraction survived. The Nama people, seeing what had happened to the Herero, also rose up. They were led by leaders like Hendrik Witbooi, a wise and respected chief, and later Jacob Morenga, who became known as the Black Napoleon for his guerrilla tactics. The Nama fought bravely in small bands, striking quickly and disappearing into the land. But the Germans used brutal force. They captured Nama families, burned villages, and forced survivors into prison camps. The Nama population, too, was reduced by almost half. For those who survived the desert and the battles, another horror awaited: concentration camps. The most feared was Shark Island, near the coastal town of Luderitz. Here, Africans were forced into fenced areas with almost no food, no shelter, and no medical care. They were beaten, starved, and forced into hard labor. Men were made to build railroads and docks until their bodies broke. Women were abused and humiliated. Children wasted away. The camps became death factories. Thousands perished, and the world looked away. By 1908, the genocide had ended. The Herero, once a proud nation of 80,000, had been reduced to about 15,000 survivors. The Nama too had lost nearly half of their people. The survivors carried scars, not just on their bodies, but in their hearts and memories. The land was taken by German settlers. The cattle were gone. The people who once ruled the plains were now broken, living in poverty and sorrow. For decades, the world forgot their story. Germany kept quiet, but the Herero and Nama never forgot. They passed the story from parent to child, keeping alive the memory of those who were lost. In time, the truth came out. Historians began to call it what it was: the first genocide of the 20th century. In 2021, Germany finally admitted the crimes as genocide and promised aid to Namibia. But many Herero and Nama descendants still demand direct reparations and a true apology. This is not just a story of death, it is also a story of resistance, courage, and memory. The Herero and Nama fought for their land, their families, and their dignity. Though many were lost, their voices still echo today, warning the world of what happens when hatred and greed take over.